Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Flying Monday. Welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Simulator stream. We can see a United, the old United out there, flying here in O'Hare. We are here in Chicago. We are doing an APL flight, and we're going to do live on stream today. Potentially, you can see there's APL. Potentially an airline switch. And we'll make the decision towards the end of the flight. Well, once we land in our destination, which is St. Louis. And the reason, so when I got back into APL, my goal was Delta because it was for the A350. Well, that was not the only reason. The other reason was because Delta has flights that their hubs are more ideally aligned with what I like to fly. But I've done the most amount of flights with SkyWest, and the reason behind SkyWest is because SkyWest has more short flights. The problem with SkyWest is if you want to be as realistic as you can, SkyWest only flies the CRJ and the E-jets. And currently in 2024, only the CRJ is unofficially supported. The E-jet, which I tried yesterday actually, the screens are now fixed. It looks, you can actually see the screens, but the FMC does not work. So that's unfortunate. So that's the missing component right now with the E-jet, or else I think it would probably work in 2024. So obviously there's some code, but they're redoing that whole thing. New video up on the channel if you want to know. P2, I'm so sorry to hear about that with your work. Obviously being laid off, I've never experienced it, thank God, and some knock on some wood. But I'm sure that's really awful stuff. Obviously you say you hate the job you're looking to leave. But you know, obviously having something lined up first and then quitting is more ideal than being laid off. So hopefully you have some sort of severance package with that. You know, it's tough times. It's tough times in the world. No doubt about it. I've been with the same company for over a decade now. For better or worse. This is actually the second job I've had that I've been with for over 10 years. And I think, I talk about this at work a lot, is loyalty. You know, companies are, well, people aren't as loyal anymore as they used to be. Well, that's maybe partly true, but there's a factor behind that. And the factor is that do companies appreciate the employees like they do? Do they give you the benefits like they used to do? Right? I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong for anyone who is over the age of 40, but I feel like, based on the stories I heard, you kind of felt more like you weren't just an employee, but you were part of the business, right? Your opinions mattered. And things have moved so much to the corporate world that unless you have that voice within that corporate industry, your opinions really don't matter. You're there to do your job and go home. But in certain aspects, they expect you to do more than that, which is quite interesting. Now, the first job I worked at for 10 years, that first 8 years, I felt like they did appreciate me, and I did feel like my contributions were impacting the business and that I had a voice. But things started to change, and that's why I left that business. And here I am now with another business, and I knew straight away that my voice wasn't going to matter with this one. This one was more going to be a job, quote unquote, instead of a career. And, I've been with them for 10 years, and we'll kind of see how things go out. I've definitely been playing the field and seeing what opportunities might be out there. And I'm not willing to be like, I'm staying with this job for the next, whatever years. I've always, with where I work now, I've always said that I don't mind what I do, but I know I could do something else. It's just motivating me to actually go find a new job or find something that I actually really am passionate about. Right now I'm just content. You get that tenure, you have your vacation time, you have a little bit of seniority in there, even though that isn't really a thing anymore, thankfully. But you feel comfortable. And then leaving that job and going somewhere else, obviously there's that uncertainty in a lot of that as well. So we'll see. Was already interviewing. No, they don't appreciate. Yeah, we're laying off people every 6 months. I survived 6 rounds. Jeez. Yeah, so I had a friend who used to work where I work at. They had quit and moved out to a different place. And within a couple of months, they started layoffs there. Thankfully, he never got on the chopping block, and he still works there, and he's happy enough at that place. But it's a scary thing, You leave somewhere where you're comfortable with, where you don't expect things to change, and then all of a sudden, you make that move, and then you might be on that chopping block either way. You're the new kid on the block. But P2, you'll come around. You'll come around. There's always something out there, right? It's a big world. Lots of opportunities. Showcase your skills. Believe in yourself. Have that confidence. I think that's truly, jobs are like dating. Jobs are like dating, right? And what I believe, and I've said this when I used to interview people, was that I'm not just interviewing you, you're also interviewing me. We're trying to see if we are compatible with one another, right? And we both have to have that confidence in our interviewing process. And that's why I say it's like a date, because you're trying to make sure you're both compatible, and then you both have to have some sort of confidence, because you don't want to make it look like you're desperate. You also don't want to be overconfident, right, and oversell yourself. So it's like dating. All right, so we are here in the A319. I did a couple flights in the PMDG 737 yesterday, and there's a little trick I found, which is there's 2 tricks. So one is, I don't know if it shows up on the screen here. Yeah, so you can go to dev mode here, and you go to tools and then aircraft selector, and then ideally you spawn in with the 737 at the gate. But to get everything fully working properly, you then load the aircraft again. The problem is that sometimes WASM will crash, and I've experienced that crash more times than not. So what I've now been doing is I have a preset in the PMDG for the load state, so we load into the aircraft, and so I load in with that 737 at the runway, like the current hack is, and then I'll just swool on over to the gate, and it automatically goes into my safe state, which is kind of a cold dark with the APU connected, power on, that kind of thing. So it's a safe state I've used in the past, and it seems to work pretty good here. Getting something I really want, absolutely. So we are in the 319 today. What did I do yesterday? I don't think I did a 350 flight yesterday. No, I did the 737 and then the 319. Today we're in the 319 with American, and maybe the last flight. We are, of course, using Beyond ATC. I have the traffic on the ground down to 4, and then I think the departing traffic at 4 as well. And I feel like that helps with the FPS a bit. So I'm going to kind of play with that. It's been that way for about a week now, and I think that's helped my end. So we'll kind of see how it works out. Okay, so first thing we want to do is go over here, go to Phoenix, import, mass, load, instant. I am also using game capture with OBS. So if there's something weird looking going on there, just kind of let me know. And, I'm kind of experimenting here. I done a couple of videos with it, and it seems to be okay. So, but if you do notice anything, just let me know. All right, battery 1 and 2 on. Pumps are coming on board. And once we get in the air, it's a short little hop today. Once we get in the air, we'll talk about FS Weekend. And like I said, I do have a video up on the channel. Some of the cool hardware announcements that came out. Okay, that's all good. Let's go on down below here. And we're going to go to config and manual, nav, and then IRS is aligned. Also, I do know that I said I was going to stream last week sometime in the evening probably, but after getting off work, I was just tired and just, wasn't feeling it. And one thing is, I never want to force myself to stream. I never want to force myself to make content, because I'm supposed to enjoy doing what I do, and I like doing this. So, anytime I force myself, then it's like, well, why am I doing this? This is supposed to be for fun. A little hobby on the side. Alright, so we got cost index of 5, and then 340 for the cruise. Get rid of that guy. Swing back over to the tablet. Send this to the MiG-2, and then send this to MiG-2. Alright, those are all sent. Good, beautiful. Let's go on back here. Go next here, that's loaded up. Here, that's all loaded up. And we're going to clear out all this jazz. Go to flight plan, we're expecting runway 22 left for departure. We'll see, I gotta pay attention here because they do change runways sometimes out of Chicago. And we're expecting 12 left via the ARC 2 and RBS. Okay, that is ready to go as well. APU is available, so APU bleed on, external power is off, GPU and chocks are disconnected. Altimeter has been reset, beautiful, grand. Let's get Beyondatc rolling. O'Hare clearance, good morning from American 2526. We're ready for IFR clearance to St. Louis.
American 2526, O'Hare clearance cleared to Lambert St. Louis Airport. Radar vectors Bacon, then as filed. Maintain 5,000 feet. Expect flight level tree 40, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 125.0, squawk 161 tree.
Alright, I have it for auto response, auto radio.
Cleared to Lambert St. Louis Airport. Radar vectors Basin, then as filed. Maintain 5,000 feet. Expect flight level 340, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 125.0, squawk 1613, American 2526.
Alright, let's go down here real quick and go to Atsu.
26, read back correct. Contact ground 2175 when ready for pushback or engine start.
Okay, we're pretty much ready at this point.
When ready, American 2526.
10 left. Oh, it just changed our runway. 10 left is what we're expecting for departure runway now.
212, runway 10 left taxi via Alpha, Alpha 12, Bravo, November 2, November Kilo Tree.
I figured they were going to change runways.
Runway 10 left taxi via Alpha, Alpha 12, Bravo, November 2, November Kilo Tree, Zulu, SkyWest 5212.
O'Hare ground, American 2526, ready to taxi, or sorry, ready for pushback and engine start. Let's see if it understood.
American
There we go,
2526,
cool.
O'Hare ground, pushback approved, face southeast.
Alright, hold good.
Pushback and engine start approved. Face southeast, American 2526.
Engine number 1.
Southwest 3135. Taxi for
Clock.
departure.
Okay, looking good.
Southwest 3135.
Alright, 10 left for departure, so let's go over here to this guy. And 10 left.
Runway 10
Beautiful.
left taxi via
No
Alpha,
SIDS.
Alpha 15,
And check off, check takeoff data. Confirm data. Good deal. Bacon is there.
United 2082, gate Charlie 29er, taxi at pilot's discretion.
Gate Charlie 29er taxi at my discretion, United 2082.
United 2082, cross runway 10 right at Whiskey Tree. Continue taxi via Whiskey Tree, Whiskey Foxtrot. Hold short runway 10.
So I've talked about this in the past, but I've been using
Cross runway 10 right at Whiskey Tree. Continue taxi via Whiskey Tree,
NVIDIA, the
Whiskey
NVIDIA
Tree,
app,
Foxtrot.
and that's how I get my little
Hold short
shorts
runway 10 center, United
for YouTube.
2082.
But for whatever reason, over the past like week or so, it like just completely crashes.
Pushback.
There's a Southwest, and I haven't figured out why. I assume it's they pushed out some update that broke it, but I'm not 100% confident in that. So, upon researching, I decided to switch over to the Xbox app, the game bar, and it's actually been significantly better with overall performance. So, like when I would do the record button with the NVIDIA app, I would see like a slight stutter
Approved. Face southwest.
for like a
United
second,
1752.
then it would go away. I haven't seen any kind of stutter with the Xbox app, and the quality seems to be better. So if you are using the NVIDIA right now, maybe look at the game bar, because I haven't seen any performance hits, and like I said, it seems to be a little bit better overall with no stutters. O'Hare ground. Let's see, what are we? American 2526, ready to taxi to the active.
American 2526, runway 10 left taxi via Alpha, Alpha 15 November Zulu.
Runway 10
All right,
left
Alpha
taxi
15.
via Alpha. Alpha 15, November, Zulu. American 2526.
15 over here. That's 16, 17, so we gotta swing over to the left. Or sorry, to the right. Your other left.
United 2082, cross runway 10 center at Foxtrot. Continue taxi via Foxtrot Papa Tango. Hold short runway 10 left.
Alright, here's 15.
Cross runway 10
Alpha
center,
November.
Foxtrot. Continue taxi via Foxtrot. Papa Tango. Hold short runway 10
Alpha
left. United
Alpha
2082.
15, November,
Skywest
and then
53,
Zulu.
53, gate Foxtrot 6, taxi at pilot's discretion.
Alright, so this is Alpha,
Gate Foxtrot 6 taxi at my discretion.
this is Bravo,
5353.
and this is November.
Skywest 4105, contact
Perfect.
O'Hare Tower 132.7.
Taking this all the way down to
Over to Tower 132.7,
Zulu.
Skywest 4105. United 2684, cross runway 9er, left at Mike 1.
Alright, let's go up here, all calls, APU bleeds are off,
Cross runway 9er left.
and check the takeoff config. All good. Beautiful. Welcome in, Captain. I have to ask, how did you get Beyond TC to work in 2024? I did a flight last night and it said it can't find any livery to traffic for me in 2024. Why so? Interesting. Well, so do you have like FSLTL or FS traffic, or what's the other one called? Do you have a traffic
Skywest 52,
livery pack installed?
O'Hare Tower 132.7, have a good morning.
So there's a free one called FSLTL. If you grab that from the guys over at Fly By Wires, if you just search for FSLTL, you just have to download the liveries. You don't have to install the
For traffic.
Hold position, American 2526.
traffic. What traffic?
Skywest 5353, cross runway 9er left at Mike 1. Continue taxi via hold short runway 9er
There's no
left.
traffic around this.
Cross runway 9er left at Mike 1.
Are they talking about this guy?
Continue taxi via. Hold short runway 9er left. Skywest 5353.
United 2684, cross runway 9er
Well,
center at
we'll
Mike.
continue. I'm not
Taxi
quite
via
sure.
Mike, hold short runway 9er right.
Oh, yeah, so you do have FSLTL installed.
Cross runway 9er center at Mike.
Um,
Continue taxi.
I don't know if FSLTL I don't think it automatically drops the folder in the 2024 community folder.
Southwest
So you might need to do that. So copy the liveries folder from 2024 from the community folder, and then it should work after you drop that into the 2024 community folder.
Lindbergh 4386, gate Foxtrot 25, taxi at pilot's discretion.
That might be it, actually, now that I think about it, because I updated deliveries yesterday. Not yesterday, Saturday, I think it was. Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday. And
2684, cross runway 9er right at Mike.
I had to copy them over.
Via Mike, Golf.
Now, I don't know if there's a button to hit to get it over to 2024, but nevertheless, no problem.
Continue taxi via Mike. Golf Alpha. United 26.
Happy to help you. Hopefully it works.
United 2082, cross
Wonder
runway 10
why
left at Tango.
it said hold for traffic.
Kilo Bravo Alpha 8.
Other than that United that was over there. But that was really far away.
Tango. Kilo Bravo Alpha 8. United 2082.
It also hasn't told me to continue
Skywest
taxiing.
15, Gate Foxtrot 14, taxi at pilot's discretion.
So hopefully I didn't break it now.
Gate Foxtrot 14, taxi at my discretion. Skywest 5216.
Alright, winds are calm. Finally here in O'Hare.
United 24.
It's been a crazy windy couple days in the Chicago area. Crazy windy. Well, most of the US has been crazy windy.
Approved. Face west. United 2417.
Skywest 5715, request taxi to
Alright, here's that southwest. They're gonna line up and wait.
Skywest 5715, runway 9er center taxi via Golf Bravo, Alpha 3, Golf 1, Zulu.
runway 9er center taxi via Golf Bravo Alpha 3 Golf 1 Zulu.
I am a little bit concerned that we haven't gotten a handoff to...
American 2526, continue taxi.
Oh. That was really late.
Continue taxi American 2526.
And now we should get handed off to tower.
Skywest 5715, hold position for traffic.
Hold position for traffic. Skywest 5715.
I wonder why... I don't know what's going on with the hold for traffic.
American 2526, contact O'Hare Tower 132.7.
Contact Tower 13.
I haven't heard so much hold for traffic.
2526.
Skywest 5212, contact
Well, I was gonna make my call.
departure.
Contact Chicago departure. Skywest 5212.
O'Hare Tower, American 2526, holding short, runway 10 left, ready to go.
American 2526, runway 10 left, line up and wait.
Line up and wait. Runway 10 left. American 2526.
Alright, lining up and wait, 10 left. I think I've done this flight in reverse on the stream before. Actually, not that long ago either. Alright, lining up, waiting.
American 2526, O'Hare Tower, wind calm, fly runway heading, runway 10 left, cleared for takeoff.
Runway heading, clear for takeoff.
Fly runway heading. Runway
Throttles up
10
to
left,
flex.
Cleared for takeoff.
Flexing
American
check, looking good.
2526.
Release departing. And let's go flying.
35, contact Chicago departure.
Alright, we're clear up to 5,000, runway heading on departure.
Chicago departure.
Then we should be swinging over to the right. And we are V1 rotating. Pull back the stick just a little bit. Little baby jets, baby bus is off the ground. We're having that weird bug that happens once in a while with the Phoenix where it thinks we're like landing. So we might hear a warning. Yeah, there it is. It thinks we're like landing. I don't understand why it does that. It'll go away and fix itself here momentarily. Flaps going up. Climb mode. Spoilers are disarmed.
2526, contact Chicago departure. Have a good morning.
My LOD is lower,
American
so
2526.
downtown's starting to pop up.
Chicago departure. American 2526.
It's rare that I get to take off 10 left.
2300.
Normally it's like 9 center.
2526, Chicago departure. Good morning.
17.
Radar contact. Climb and maintain 17,000. Altimeter 3016.
Climb and maintain 17,000. Altimeter 3016. American 2526.
American 2526, turn right heading 200.
200 on the heading.
Turn right, heading 200. American 2526.
Skywest 4105, contact Chicago Center 120.35.
Center on 120.3.
Alright, looking pretty good. Again, this is a pretty short hop. It's what, 230 nautical miles or so. So I've talked about this before, but like my wife and I, we moved to the Chicago area about 4.5 years ago now. I always forget how close we are to some other of these big cities. Indianapolis, St. Louis. We're not too terribly far away from like Memphis. And even like going to like New York and whatnot, it's you know, it's a hike, but not terribly bad. It's amazing what driving 10 hours away from where you mostly grew up from changes your perspective. 265.
265, American 2526.
Alright, we should get direct to Beacon momentarily. Or Bacon, whatever it is. 265. Alright, over 10,000. Landing lights, taxi lights coming off. Bring that nose down just a little bit. Come on down. There we go.
SkyWest 5212, contact Chicago Center 132.5. Contact Chicago Center 132.5.
Alright, rolling out.
5212. American 2526, turn left, heading 200.
Why are we going back to 200?
Turn left, heading 200, American 2526.
No, make up your mind. Make up your mind. 200 now.
American 2526, cleared direct basin. Resume own navigation.
Did you say basin?
Roger, heading direct basin, then resume own navigation.
Alright, so we're gonna go direct
2526, thanks.
basin apparently.
American 2526.
Alright.
You're welcome.
AP is on. You're welcome. Alright, we're looking pretty good. I've been doing a lot of 350 flights. The sim has come quite... What now? The sim has come quite far from the crapshoot it was during launch. You know, it's interesting. Because, you know, I've said it before many times. I have been very lucky with 2024. Very little issues from day one. Very little issues from day one. And interesting enough, so I've talked about this as well, but I watch a lot of 757 Spy over on Twitch. Now he's streaming on YouTube as well.
Climb, maintain flight level 340, American
340. And he said yesterday, he said he was so close to removing 2020, as 2024 has been working really good for him. And that says a lot, because he was having some pretty big issues with 2024. Like he used 2024 the first couple of days of launch week, and then said the whole thing went back to 2020 for most flights, and then kind of brought in a flight here and there with 2024. But he loves Boeings, obviously by his name, 757. Although recently he's been more happier with the Airbus stuff. But it's interesting because, like, for someone like him to feel comfortable enough in ditching 2020, that says a lot with the state of where 2024 is now. And I know he was experiencing some issues with 2020. So yeah, 2024 has been rock solid for a lot of people, and more recently with the Sim Update 1 has made a huge difference in overall performance and in overall consistency. And then, you know, some of the planes that weren't working before properly may have been working better now with 2020, or sorry, with Sim Update 1. And the Sim Update 2 beta should be starting fairly soon. I'll look at the notes and see what changes in that before I make any jumps to it. Because for the most part, I'm pretty content. I'm pretty happy with what I'm getting out of Sim Update 1. Alright, climbing up to 340. We had a runway change for departure, so we'll see what the runway arrival 12 left. That would make sense based on the current winds. So we'll see what happens there. It was always interesting to know, like, what Beyond ATC will have you do for the runways. It's always really interesting. So, on to the news of FS Weekend. So, FS Weekend was, this past weekend, and there were a lot of really cool things that were announced. And again, I covered this in a video, so go and check out that video if you want, up on the channel here. But what really excited me was, what's the name of the company? Oh shoot, Meridian. So Meridian was started, and the runner, the owner, the CEO, whatever, of that company used to be, I believe, the CEO of Honeycomb. And so he's taking the ideas, the philosophy of Honeycomb, and bringing them over to his company now. Because, you know, obviously, if you followed enough of this light sim stuff, you know there was the drama behind Honeycomb, who owns it, who doesn't. Then there's two different versions of things. It's just a whole mess. The Charlie rudder pedals took forever to finally get released. The Foxtrot control flight stick, which was announced back at Flight Sim Expo last year or the year before, I think it was, finally is potentially coming out from Honeycomb.
American 2526, contact Chicago Center 132.5.
So we're going to see some new hardware. I'm really interested in the Meridian stuff. It looks good, and it's all concept kind of art right now. Uh-oh. 132.5 does not exist. Well, that's interesting. Center. We'll go over to this center, I guess. Does not exist. What the hell? Huh. I've never had that happen before. Let's see. Centers. We have departure, tower, ground, data. Well, that's rather weird. So Beyondatc says 32. Wow, I can't talk. 132.5 doesn't exist, and then when I switch over to center, that they have 120.350, it does not exist either. So the centers don't exist. All right, well, we'll report that as a bug. Anyways, so the Meridian stuff looks really, really cool. The yoke looks very similar to the Honeycomb with some other features. One thing that's really, really cool about it is that it has a detachable yoke. So, like for my setup now, I have my yoke pretty much, it's on top of my desk. And on top of the desk on top of the yoke, I have my keyboard. So if I do want to like play a game or do any kind of actual work on my PC, I do have to detach my yoke, put it on the side, and it's good to go. Not that much work, but you know, it's from time to time you got to do that. With the Meridian one, it will have by default an option to mount it underneath your desk, and then you have that detachable yoke. So it's almost like it's never there, which I think is really, really cool. I don't know, that really won't, well, it could work for me, I suppose. I'd have to have my right now my chair is pretty much at the top level. So I'd have to lower my chair all the way to the ground, and then that might work, move my monitors down. Yeah, it might work. But either way, so I'm excited about that. It does seem like the shell is going to be pretty big. I guess I get that because of the rod itself for the yoke. But the other thing that's really cool is the throttle quadrant, the Sierra, I think is what they call that. And that looks really cool because it has a radio panel built into the quadrant. And from my understanding, it sounds like they're trying to put together like all the peripherals they can into one unit. And that's a really big thing with the radio panel, because instead of having all these different peripherals, you can now have, one or two. So I might look into that. Honeycomb, of course, announced a couple things too. They have the light versions of the Alpha and Bravo, and then they announced the Foxtrot, and then there was something else they had announced too. Oh, then there's the GA version of the Honeycomb Bravo. I would like to see like more. I'd like to see a price drop with the Charlie, because apparently that's not selling well to one to begin with. Yeah, but two, but I feel like if they could get the price, if they could take the tactic that Windwing has done with some of the peripherals, you know, have reasonable pricing, they could potentially steal the market with their rudder pedals, but they didn't. And I don't understand why rudder pedals are so expensive. I don't understand that. You know, like Turtle Beach for like $300, I think. That's crazy expensive for a bunch of plastic. Now it's solid build. I love my Turtle Beach, they're great, but they're bulky little things, man. Good news, I got a pair of cats. Alright. That's fantastic, P2. Yeah, we have our two cats here, and then we have the big old German Shepherd. My cat, let's see, she had diabetes. Thankfully now, knock on wood, she's in remission. So we don't have to do insulin no more. And that's been over a year now. Well, about a year, I think. And she definitely has something going on with her stomach, though. Like the mornings, at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes a little more. She'll vomit her, you know, if she's drinking water at night, she'll vomit up a little bit of water. Or she dry gags. And then sometimes, for our pleasure, she'll throw up the little bit of food we give her. So I kind of space out her food in the morning. And apparently there's nothing that can be done, based on what the vet said, based on what I found on the internet. Just, it's part of, I can't remember, she has some gastro thing. So ideally it's just kind of spread out the meals and that kind of thing. But thankfully I'm super approved, Cat 2 landing approved. Welcome in, Marcus. Thankfully I'm also report with the diabetes, she had dropped down to like 8.5 pounds or something like that. And she was, I would say, I can't remember exactly the time we had brought her to vet prior to all this diabetes stuff, but I think she was like 11 pounds, somewhere around there. And she got all the way down to 8 something. I think it was 8.3 actually. And so I measured her last weekend, and she's at 10 now, 10 pounds. So she's definitely back up to normal weight, which is fantastic. We just gotta figure out some other things still. The other cat's gonna outlive the whole world. She's still springy, bouncy. If they slept in the same spot every single day, I would get a cat cam for y'all on stream, but they do not. They kind of move around. No frequency exists still. It's rather interesting. I've never had that happen before. Alright, well, either way, we're on our way to St. Louis. We're on approach soon. And I'm looking at the chart, see if I can see another center frequency, but I don't see anything. But we can put in arrival information. So runway 12 left. And we'll probably end up just picking up approach going into St. Louis. So go to next, and we're going to put in our QNH, which is 3019. And the temperature is 6. The wind is 150 at 12. minimums are 741. And here we go. Rival's ready to go. And here's our top descent there. And we'll drop down to, looks like, looks like 5,000. Cool. Looking good. So yeah, so we got Honeycomb, Meridian, and of course Windwing had a bunch of stuff they announced as well. One the big ones is the Boeing set of panel stuff. So we have the Airbus stuff now with the EFIS and the FCU, and we'll get the Boeing versions shortly. They also showed off force feedback yoke, force feedback rudder pedals, all within like really good pricing, honestly, for high-end stuff, because Windwing makes some pretty good stuff for very reasonable pricing. Now the Boeing yoke could be really, really cool to have, but it is huge, and what they price it at, like $1,500 or something, I can't remember. And then they also are doing force feedback flight sticks. And then there was flightsim.com. They make the yoke. Currently they have a force feedback yoke, which is really, really cool. It's big and long. The thing with that was I had a couple issues with it, and this is my personal preference stuff, right? Okay, so nothing with the device itself, is more just personal. One is that it was really long, and with the setup I have, it was very, very difficult. You know, with the Alpha, I can just unscrew real quick, pop it on the side, and get going with whatever I want to do. With that system, it's just big honking dude. So I had to unclamp things, and it's heavy as hell, and then I have all these extra wires because there's an emergency stop switch on there as well. There was a power cable, there was a USB cable, so it's a lot more of a hassle. And then again, it's just huge, so I can't just take it and put it somewhere nice and hide it. That thing's just massive. For like a permanent setup, it would be great. For recreational stuff like I do, it's more of a hassle. And number two, well, I guess I have three issues. Number two was it was loud. I could hear it through my noise canceling headphones. It's a very loud device, and obviously that's part of the motor thing in there. You're gonna have, it's gonna be louder, right? But it was substantially louder than I would like. And my third issue was that I really like all the buttons and switches I have on the Honeycomb Alpha, and it's honestly one of the reasons why, like, so a while back ago, you know, that I went over to I bought the Windwing, what's it called, the Ursa Minor flight stick, the Airbus one. I bought that because I was going to switch over to joystick because I was having issues with the yoke here in 2024. So I made that switch over, and I used it for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, but I really missed my switches. I didn't think I'd miss it that much, but it was really hard. And I remember when I tried the Thrustmaster Boeing yoke, that was another thing too, and that has a lot of buttons and switches on it, but it just didn't feel natural enough for me. I've gotten so happy and accustomed to the Alpha, and if I use anything else, it just doesn't feel right. I wish WW makes a higher class side stick. Yeah, but it can be more. I agree. But the side stick that Windwing makes is better than the Thrustmaster, for sure. My only complaint with that stick, my only complaint, is that the hat switch is underneath that magnet, and it's so deep in there. I would have rather had it raised, like the Thrustmaster one. I don't know if they just didn't expect people to actually use the hat switch, but it's crazy that it's so low. Still no center. Let's try 1325 now. Nope. That's crazy. It's so weird. Alright, we're almost at top of the descent, so we'll drop ourselves down, I guess. Let's see, where's the approach start? So it looks like we're actually going to be on the approach chart now, so we're coming in. I just don't know when approach would start here. Got both. Ursa is the wind, but I think if there's a... yeah. I thought about getting the Orden. Like going full-fledged and getting a base and a stick as well. I just don't know if I can commit myself to just that one peripheral. For flying, because that's pretty big price tag. You know, I looked at the Virpil stuff as well, and looks really, really good. Moza will be announcing something soon. Is that today or tomorrow? I can't remember now. Because they're getting more into the flight stuff as well, so they'll be announcing something. Now, they make really high-end, pricey stuff, so we'll kind of see. It's weird about them is I was reached out to at some point last year about potentially trying one of their flight sticks, and I was like, sure, yeah, why not? And then, like, they never got any further conversation. So I was like, whatever, no problem with me. I don't care. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. Just built the full shell cockpit. I lost the feeling for money now. It would be a goal of mine to do that. The thing that... So, J. Russ, who's in the channel here often, watches the stream or the videos, he has an Airbus cockpit. Looks really, really cool. And he's done some really cool things to make it so that he can use other aircrafts and not be too out of place. I think that's kind of what I'd like to do. Like, especially with Windwing doing their things, you know, it'd be really cool to get, let's say, the Bowwing yoke and then get the side stick, you know, the motion, the force feedback one, and then be able to find a way to interchange the Airbus FMU, or sorry, FMC, no, what is it called? FCU, jeez. Switch it out to the Bowwing version in your setup. The throttles will be an issue. That could be an issue. Alright, let's see. We're gonna go to here, X2, A, R, and receive. No delays. And I don't know, approach should be coming up shortly. I'm going to switch over to the approach frequency here with St. Louis. St. Louis approach 132.125. 132.125.
St. Louis approach, American 2526 through flight level 287 for flight level 340 direct Roberts.
American 2526, St. Louis departure. Descend, maintain 17,000 feet. Altimeter tree 019er.
Descend, maintain 17,000 feet. Altimeter 3019er, American 2526.
I wonder why that's... I'm still...
American 2526, St. Louis approach. I have a traffic management reroute for you. Advise ready to copy.
Affirm, ready to copy, American 2526.
Alright, let's see what we got going on now. We have a reroute.
American 2526, expect March 2.
No, it's not a reroute. Expect Arch 2, runway 12 left, American 2526.
American 2526, cleared direct arch. Resume on navigation.
Alright, we're going direct Arch. I'm just looking in the Discord now for Beyondatc and seeing if anyone's reported this issue. Frequency problems. Jump to present. Alright, so they wanted us to go over to where? O'Hare Center 132.5 says does not exist. Alright. Got that reported. I just want to make sure I did it now so I don't forget. Yeah, flying in the US. Heading on over to St. Louis, departed Chicago. And coming into St. Louis. Short little hop. And then we'll make a big decision. So this flight is a pilot's life. You can see on the screen there, this is an add-on mode you can get for flight sim, and I think it's X-plane compatible as well. I may be incorrect in that, but I think it is X-plane as well. And so what I'm saying we'll make a big decision is if I go to dashboard here, we have 300 things. So we have our Saturday poll, which we don't care about. We have credits, made some money, and then job application. So we got approved to join Delta. Now, here's the thing though. I put in a thing for SkyWest as well. So we have to make a decision between Delta and SkyWest. And I'm going to wait until after the flight to click any buttons, because sometimes a pilot's life does this like freeze, and I don't want to break anything. Yeah, I love a pilot's life. Really, really cool. You saw on the screen there, I got over 700, what is it over? I think it's over 700 hours, right? What is it? Let me see now. Over 700 flights, and getting close to 700 flight hours. Again, I mostly do short hops, but I love it. I got it a couple of years ago and went ham. And honestly, I wouldn't even have gone back into it except for New Sky, which I had switched over to, which I like because of, you have the decision of flying wherever you want versus the schedule. Although now I'm actually liking the schedule thing again. New Sky just stopped working for me. It gives me an error, unknown, what's it say? Like unknown error or some sign on error when I try to connect to it. And apparently the dev said everything's working on their end. And there's nothing they can do. They need more people with network knowledge or something based in the US. So that's unfortunate. Because not everyone in the US either. It's just a handful of people. That's a weird bug for sure. I don't know if maybe it's an IP issue. Maybe providers, like I use Xfinity, so maybe. What? Climb and maintain 340.
Climb and maintain flight level 340, American 2526.
Alright. Now it's all screwy. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird issue for sure. Very weird issue.
Allegiant 481, flight level tree.
Alright, standard pressure.
Allegiant 481, Kansas City Center.
We don't have a latest what's it called? Altimeter. Expected altimeter 3019 though. Alright, passing 180, looking good. Coming in for the arrival. St. Louis is right over here for the arrival airport. And I suppose I could bring up charts here. I always forget that the Phoenix has charts built into it because I use an external tablet. So we are here on the Arch, what are we, Arch 2? Yeah, Arch 2 arrival, coming on in. We're gonna go over here. Looking grand. And the ILS is 12 left, so we'll come on in, bam. And probably, wonder what they'll do, 5,000 or 4,000. We'll see what they do for the altitude. And then on landing, 12 left right here. We're gonna exit to the right, probably at it's gonna probably be Echo 1. Echo 1 and then hotel. Unless we can get Kilo, but we'll see. We'll see what kind of float I do on the arrival. Pretty simple approach though. St. Louis is always fun coming into. I do have a video up on the channel for those who struggle with landing, and I have some tips in that video that might make it a little easier for you. It is primarily in the Airbus. I have a full-fledged kind of step-by-step how I do my approach with landing, and that was with an Airbus. The Boeings can be a little bit more complex because that is not fly-by-wire, at least with the 737. But if you have more interest in learning how to do that, it's up on the channel here. Alright, 14,000. Looking pretty good. Man, I did so much flying this weekend. Saturday, so a friend of mine said I should watch Invincible. It's an Amazon show, and so I finally got on there to watch it on Saturday, and I binged most of the season 1 on Saturday. All but 2 episodes, and that includes the prequel episode, which I didn't know was a prequel episode. So I'm on episode 4 now. I think we're season 2, which I'll probably end up finishing by the end of the week, and then I'll start season 3. I'm liking season 1 more. Season 2 seems to be kind of a slow builder, but it's a fun show. On VATSIM, the most panic moment is taxiing after landing. Yeah, I'm sure. I need to get on VATSIM. I need to see what I have learned over the past year and a half with using these AI ATC programs, FSHUD and Beyondatc, and we'll see how much knowledge I've gained. I'm not going to do an event. There's no way to do an event, but the thing with VATSIM is that so if I can go into VATSIM and just pretend that I'm just using Beyondatc.
American 2526, contact Kansas City Center, 128.1.
Why am I going to center?
Center on 128.1, American 2526. Kansas City Center, American 2526, through 2,000 feet for flight.
Yeah, something got screwed up because it didn't hear me with the calls. I should be on approach only. Alright, let me go ahead and I want to go back over. Yeah, that's interesting because my radio frequencies in Beyond ATC are incorrect. It still says we're in Chicago. 125. So let's switch back over to approach.
St. Louis approach.
Has a better second half? Okay.
Crossing 1,000 feet for flight level 340.
American 2526. St. Louis departure. Climb and maintain.
Alright, landing lights are on. Yeah, something's screwed up. We might just have to lose Beyond ATC.
Feet. American 2526.
American 2526 cleared direct.
Alright, I'm closing out Beyond ATC. It's going to show up crashing here like it does. Give it a shot. Can only talk for Northern Germany region, but they are very helpful for the beginners. I need to try when one of the next what's it called? Wings flights? First wings? When one of those come up, I need to get on that. I'm going to try to reconnect to Beyond ATC. I'm going to try to do it mid-flight as we're on approach and see if that's an option. There's our airport there. Yeah, first wings. Yeah, that's what I want to try. It's because it's been a while since I've been on VATSIM. And, you know, my confidence level is not going to be great. I also have to then know my own radio frequencies. Obviously, it shows up on the VATSIM screen. But I think I need to do that. People say it, like, Beyond ATC, you know, these AI ATC programs are great for training, to build you up with VATSIM. So I guess I would be a proven example if it is or isn't. Because I've done nothing but be on the Beyond ATC, FS HUD kind of stuff. Alright, we are on descent. On frequency. Okay.
St. Louis approach. American 2526 descending via Arch 2, 8,400 feet.
Southwest 1206. Contact St. Louis.
We'll see if this is fixed now. We'll see if we get a vector in time. We're descending down to 5,000. We need to be making a turn to the left here shortly. Okay, looking good. We'll get multiplayer. I think that'd be really, really tough. Really, really tough. I know the competitor program was FS Weekend, and they're bloating about what they've done. I don't believe it's going to be what they say it's going to be, because traffic is a very complex thing. And then you throw in other players. You throw in a bunch of players who don't know what they're doing. You know, so they get, it's gonna, I have a question. I don't think it's gonna be anything close to what they're saying it's going to be. I think multiplayer is part of the issue with it. Because that's what I know Brian had said from day one, is that was going to be a major issue. And I don't think they've found a way to make that work properly. They can't even get the comms to work properly sometimes, so. Who's your favorite character on Invincible so far? So far, like, Mark's alright, but Adam Eve, I like Adam Eve. I kind of like the whole, I like her prequel story, that was kind of cool. I also like this whole thought of where she wants to do more with life, but understands her responsibilities as being a superhero. And she's telling Mark, like, you know, I remember one of the last episodes I watched was something about Mark kind of saying, well, you know, people can figure out their own. And she's like, no, we have a responsibility to go do it. It's our job. We're superheroes. And so I like that. She's dealing with her own issues with her parents, with her dynasty. So yeah, I like her story. I really like her story. Sandra Oh, who plays
American 2526,
Mark's mom,
turn left, heading 220.
is really good too.
12 left localizer. Descend and maintain 5,000 feet. Altimeter 3019er.
All right, 22 left, intercept the localizer. So looking really good.
Turn left heading 220, intercept the 12 left localizer, descend and maintain 5,000 feet. Altimeter
I've had a blast with that show though. I didn't.
American
I'm kind
2526.
of mad that I didn't start earlier.
American 2526. Descend, maintain 3,300.
3,300.
Maintain 3,300, American 2526.
Okay, at Greet we want to be 25. So bring down the VS a little bit. That's about right. Beautiful. We'll intercept the localizer. All right, folks. We'll make it in for the arrival here. Let's get the LS on, 10 nautical miles out. I'm going to bring down the first notch of flaps to help us slow down a bit. We're a little high on the approach. I'm going to bring out speed brakes now.
Frontier Flight 2733. Turn right, heading 075. Vectors for the approach. Turn right, heading 075. Frontier Flight 2733.
25. Okay, looking good. All right, intercepting the localizer now. Again, we are a little bit high.
American 2526.
Debbie's the goat.
Airport is at your 10 o'clock 9er miles. Report the field in sight.
Field in sight, American 2526. Okay, we're a little high on the approach, not too terrible.
2526. Cleared visual approach.
Clear for the visual.
Left.
Cleared visual approach 12 left, American 2526.
All right, speed brakes are going to be stowed. Spoilers are going to be on.
American 2526. Contact St. Louis Tower 120.05.
And glide slope's been captured.
Contact
Grand.
120.05,
Gear coming down.
American 2526.
Use a different Q&H scale. Yeah, hectopascals. Is that what it's called?
2526, visual runway 12
Oh, that's not right. What's it stand for? Inches? Inches versus hecto? All right, clear to land.
Runway 12 left, cleared to land.
Need to get that speed back
2526.
quite a bit here. Prepare for landing. Flaps coming down. We're a little late on the flaps right now.
Lindbergh 4506, ready to go. Runway 12 left.
All right, looking good. Little hot still, but not bad. We need flaps 4.
Affirm. Short of 12
Flaps 4.
Lindbergh 45.
AP off, my aircraft. Don't panic, don't panic. Alright, let's bring up the nose just a little bit. Because as we decelerate, the nose will want to go down. So kind of catch that ahead of schedule.
500.
Okay, stable approach, I say. Winds are coming out of the south. A little low in the approach, not too terrible though. Doing a slight crab to come in.
Minima.
It's around the Pappy, but the glide slope's showing we're way high. But I feel really good where we are, so I'm just going visual at this point.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. Retard.
Touchdown. Reversers out. Flaps are coming up. This could be a Southwest hub. And here's that Kilo. Reversers are stowed. No, that's not Kilo. This is the Echo 1. Cool. Well, we made it where we wanted to. Landing lights coming off. They wanted us to take, well, no, this is right, Echo. Yeah. Cool. Something Mercury. Yeah, something, that sounds about right, yeah. Alright, welcome to St. Louis, everyone. We'll see what our landing rate is in APL here in a second. We'll get over to ground. Not a bad arrival.
American 2526, contact ground 121.9er, have a good one.
Starts clapping.
Ground 121.9er, American 2526, have a good one.
United 496.
Ramp
Contact
Bravo,
St. Louis Tower
Bravo
120.05.
12.
See you.
Or sorry, Bravo 2.
Contact Tower 120.05.
I'm gonna go to a hotel up here.
496.
St. Louis ground, American 2526 on hotel, looking to taxi to gate, sorry, to ramp Bravo 2. I have no idea where that is.
Southwest 4610. Contact St. Louis Tower 120.05. Have a good one. Over to Tower 120.05. Southwest 4610.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad landing. A little fast on the approach, but made it work.
American 2526, welcome to Lambert, St. Louis, ramp Bravo to taxi via hotel. Hold short runway 12 right.
Ramp Bravo 2 via hotel. Hold short runway 12 right.
So they're landing and
American
departing 1-2
2526.
left. I don't see anyone on right.
American 2526, cross runway 12 right at hotel. Continue taxi via hotel, Charlie.
Man, this sim can be gorgeous.
Cross runway 12
Gorgeous.
right at hotel. Continue taxi via hotel.
Most of the time, at
Charlie,
least.
American 2526.
So I talked about this well, probably 2 weeks ago now. But I bought an OLED monitor a while back ago. It's amazing. It is amazing. I didn't think it was going to be this big of a difference, but man, it's incredible. Alright, where in the heck is... where we ramp to? I'm just using the little cheat sheet now in Beyondatc. You can look at the map, the taxi map. Really cool feature. That's a cool livery there. I've never seen that one. Or, I've seen this one before. I've never seen this, though. That's pretty cool. Delta 3, so it's got to be here somewhere. Because it said Charlie, so it didn't say anywhere else. Got a Frontier, Southwest. So I did a flight out of Richmond this weekend. And I have an add-on for Richmond. And I didn't used to complain about this, but in there they have the static planes. And that causes issues. Because like I spawned in and I was on top of the plane. So I was like, okay, I'll move. Spawned in again and I was still on top of another plane. Because obviously I didn't pay attention. So Bravo 2, so this is Charlie, so maybe here. Thankfully this airport does not have that. Like I understand why static airplanes, like why the scenery developers put them in there. You know, because the airports can look rather boring without planes. But like for people that use multiplayer traffic or even AI traffic, it's just more of a headache. So Bravo 2 is up over here. So just... That's Charlie, so Bravo 2's right here, I guess. Interesting. That says 4. Bravo 4. Ramp 2. Oh well, whatever. This is where Beyondatc is saying to go. Well, don't hit the wing, don't hit the wing. It's a little expensive. Alright, parking brake is set, checked. Over yonder. Go to the Phoenix app. Go to GP Chocks. Toggle the jetway. There is no jetway here. How do people board here? It's just a store and then there's stairs? That's crazy.
Ramp 7 via Alpha 2 Alpha Tango Delta Victor. Hold short runway 12 right. Frontier flight 2733.
Huh. It's wild to think that an airport like St. Louis would have something like this. Oh, they come out here, come out this door here, and then they come the stairs. That's wild. God, I haven't gone on stairs in an airplane forever. Alright, put this to normal. Engine 1 and 2 are coming off. And then we'll get the... there's the notice. Alright, so let's go check out APL. Let's kill out Beyondatc. Okay, so here we are, Beyondatc, or sorry, Beyondatc, APL, and we'll check out our last flight. So we got 99. I'm guessing the landing lights. Nope. Taxi. Oh, I didn't turn the taxi lights when we stopped and parked. My bad. Landing at 177. I'll take it. G's 127. So a little hard on the G's, but it's still within the range. So not bad at all. So you can see all my flights pretty good here. 96 is my lowest. I had this Boeing. This was in the. This was, I think, in the Asobo Max. I think. But not too shabby. Dashboard here is going to show my average. I think this is over the past month, right? Or is it what is this? Is calculating the average score of the last 10 flights plus all flight averages divided by 2. So 98.7. Pretty good overall, I'd say. But the important stuff is the job market. So I think now that I know I got into Delta, I'm going to hold on to Delta. I'm not going to make the decision today. I'm going to make the decision tomorrow. The drama's over now. The drama will be for the next stream, which might be Wednesday, probably Thursday, honestly, actually. So why I'm thinking Delta is because... the other screen didn't come up. Oh, man. I want to show you this other screen. Okay, hold on a sec. Give me 1 second. I'm working on it, sorry. Okay. So APL here. So if we click on this little exclamation, or no, what is this? An I information? If we click on that little button, this will bring up another window. This is what I want to show you. It's not showing you in the other way. So in here you can look at all the routes, right? And I find that Delta has a lot of shorter routes. I'm kind of against Delta. I mean, yeah, Delta a little bit because they do have a lot of DFW flights. Or sorry, that's DTW. Sorry, never mind. It's Detroit. It's all right. I thought it was Dallas Fort Worth, and Fort Worth in flight sim isn't great. We have Birmingham, Atlanta. Atlanta's a hub for Delta, and so that'd be great for the 350. But I'm not really flying the 350 as much now. Boston JFK flights would be cool. The Orlando and Miami. I've done that many times. Let's see, Jacksonville to, no, what is that? Jackson Hole, I think, right? To Salt Lake City. We got Nashville and Atlanta. That's not so, yeah, that's not so bad. Savannah to Atlanta. So let's check out Minneapolis, because Minneapolis is a hub. I do like flying out of Minneapolis. So we got Minneapolis to Sanford, Fargo, MSP. I can't remember what that is right now. Milwaukee, Chicago, Bismarck. MCI is, oh man, Kansas, right? Grand Rapids? No, that can't be right. That's really far away. 354. Yeah, maybe it is. St. Louis. So I got a few flights out of Minneapolis. Either way, I'm gonna make that decision tomorrow. I'm gonna look at SkyWest first, because SkyWest is, again, it's a smaller airline. Well, it's a regional airline. The thing with SkyWest is, again, it only has CRJs and E-jets, and if I want to keep it realistic, this wouldn't really be ideal. I do like the hubs as well with SkyWest, but I know they're going to pay me significantly less, which isn't a big deal because I have plenty of money with a pilot's life, and I don't really need to buy anything else. They also have a lot of super short hops. Like, look at these. These are crazy. Let's look at MSP real quick. This is just assuming that I even get into SkyWest. I should look at my resume. Actually, I might go to Delta, because if I get into, okay, this is what I'll probably end up doing. If SkyWest does approve me, and I know that I can get into there anytime I want to. It's only a star 2 rating with a pilot's life. So I'll probably take Delta, do Delta for a while, and then if I really get, if I get bored out of Delta, then I'll jump over to SkyWest and do that. That's probably what I'll end up doing. That should probably work really well. That's what I'm thinking. Anyways, we're going to end the stream here today. Thanks everyone for coming on board. Really good flight from Chicago to St. Louis. I'm not sure what was going on with Beyond ATC, but it got fixed eventually once we got on the ground. This weird clicking thing happens here. And I thought it was an FSUI PC issue. It's not. I also then thought it was a MobiFlight issue. It's not. It randomly just does this because I disconnected FSUI PC, I disconnected MobiFlight, and it still does it. So it's a weird issue, and I can't seem to figure out why it doesn't. It's very sporadic. It's done on my last 2 flights now, but it hadn't done it before for a while. So I have no idea. I have no idea. But again, thanks for coming on in. Thank you, Marcus, for coming in as well. And P2, good luck on the future. We'll hopefully see you on the stream on Thursday. Thursday I'll probably do a couple streams, a couple flights I should say, and we'll see if we're in Delta or in SkyWest. And I think I have a video coming up tomorrow up on channel on iFly. I think it's an iFly video. But again, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.